What is up, guys, and welcome back to the 13th episode of the Kid Kritic Mvie Podcast, where we talk about movies and all that other fun stuff. Now, usually I'd say that we got a whole bunch to talk about, but I gotta admit, this week's movie news just absolutely stoinked. There was not a lot to talk about today. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, last week's episode went pretty long, but this week's episode, I'm not gonna lie, it might be pretty short, but anyways, we're still gonna have fun. It doesn't matter. It's gonna be a blast, and I cannot wait to talk about some movie news. So with that said, let's get this thing started, and let's start this podcast.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Han Solo. I'm Captain of the Millennium Falcon.
Bond.
Up in the sky, it's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Hasta la vista, baby.
Say hello to my little friend!
Here's Johnny.
and here we go.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to the 13th episode of the Kid Kritic Mvie Podcast, where we talk about movies and all that other fun stuff, and boy, do we got a lot to talk about. Just kidding, no, we don't have much to talk about, but it's gonna be fun anyway, so make sure you get a snack, because it's just gonna be a fun time, so let's just get this thing started. Woo! Man, I feel like I just drank a big can of Red Bull. You know why? Because last night I got to go see Rambo: The Last Blood, and boy was that a blast. And make sure to go check out that review, because it was just tons of brilliant fun. Now, is it The Godfather? No, but it's John Rambo kicking all sorts of booty, and it was a blast. So make sure to go out and see it, because this movie deserves $4 billion at the box office, and it's Sly. Why not? Alright. Woo! Woo! Now, I'm not gonna lie, this week was kind of tiring for various reasons. But anyways, let's get down into some movie news. Alright, now the first thing we'll talk about, so last Friday, I forgot to talk about this on the last episode, but whatever, gives us something else to talk about on this lovely, lovely Friday, because that's the day I'm recording this. What? We all love Fridays, don't we? But anyways, so this came out last Friday, and James Gunn posted the Suicide Squad 2 cast. Oh, snap. I can't believe that this movie is coming out. I totally forgot that this movie is coming out. Like, when is it coming out? A year or two? I don't know. But, so I'm just going to list off some of, like, the big names. So, David Dastmalchian, I like him. I think he's pretty fun. He's actually in the Ant-Man films, and he's pretty funny there, and some other films I do quite like him. Jai Courtney is returning, and I did love him as Boomerang in that Suicide Squad film. And if you don't know my stance of Suicide Squad, which I've talked about quite a bit, and basically I've said I like the Suicide Squad, like the characters and the group, but I just don't like the movie they're in, and that's basically my stance on that movie. You got Joel Kinnaman, who is also returning. Obviously, you have Margot Robbie in there. You have Storm Reed, who I think is a talented young actress. You got Sean Gunn. Surprise, surprise, not really. Viola Davis is returning. I love her. Margot Robbie, obviously returning. Michael Rooker is fantastic. I first got introduced to him in The Walking Dead when I used to watch it. I mean, I don't know how it is now, but when I watched it, it was pretty great. But Michael Rooker, love him. Let's see here, Nathan Fillion. You got Taika Waititi, who I'm obviously curious for. I mean, obviously he voiced Korg, and he's gonna play Hitler in Jojo Rabbit, which we'll also talk about pretty soon. So I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, he looks good in Jojo Rabbit, so I mean, I don't know how big of a role he's gonna have. And then you also have John Cena, who, if you don't know, and if you didn't see my Bumblebee review, I don't like John Cena at all as an actor. I'm sure he's a friendly human being, but as an actor, not so good. But again, when The Rock first started, it was the same deal. But if you put in the hard work, you'll get better. So that's the Suicide Squad 2 cast. I mean, I think it looks really good. I mean, this is a really, really good cast. Like, I'd call this a Kid Kritic cast right here. You got a great cast, great director, and I'm sure the story is going to be awesome, and I'm sure it's going to be executed phenomenally. Now let's talk about another DC whatever it's called, film. and that is Joker. That's right, folks. It's coming up. It's coming up in less than a month, and I cannot wait for this movie. Obviously, it just won the Golden Lion Award at Venice Film Festival, and it's just having a bunch of buzz. Well, there are some people that don't like the film, which, everything's subjective. But so far, the early box office projections just came out for Joker, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty insane. Now, is it as insane as, let's say, Joker is? Maybe not, but this movie does look pretty. The box office projections, look pretty insane for this film, to the point where it might break Venom's record. I mean, both know how much that movie made. So basically, the projections for Joker is $82 million, which breaks Venom's record again for an R-rated superhero film. That's insane. I was thinking around maybe the $60 million mark, because, just by what you're hearing, this movie's not for everyone. This movie's going to be dark. It's going to be sad. It's not a movie that you're going to pop on. Oh, let's have some fun. Let's watch Joker. It's like if somebody said, oh, let's have some fun. Let's watch Schindler's List. Anybody down? No. All right. It's going to be one of those movies. I'm so excited for it. I've talked about this film ad nauseum. The new poster, IMAX poster, is phenomenal. That is a thing that you just hang up and If this movie makes $82 million, it would encourage more studios to take risks like this movie and do probably more standalone films, which I'll quite enjoy. Again, I love the multiverses, and I just realized, I think I just said earlier that Venom was rated R. It was obviously not rated R, but whatever, Deadpool was rated R. That movie made a lot of money, and both of them did. So I hope this movie makes the amount of money. I can't wait to see it. The IMAX poster is phenomenal. The buzz is really good. Yes, there's some people that don't like it, but again, it's because this movie is just dark and it's really just disturbing. That's the word that most people have put around this film, but I just cannot wait for this movie. Now, let's talk about another movie that I'm also pretty excited for, and that is Jojo Rabbit. That is right, folks. It is about a rabbit named Jojo. No, I'm just kidding. It's about Adolf Hitler, and it's a Hitler satire. That's what this movie is, and it's obviously directed by Taika Waititi, who also stars in this film, and it just won some awards over at the Toronto International Film Festival. Now, first of all, before I get into that, I'm really excited for this film. Obviously, Taika Waititi, who is a director that I truly enjoy. He's not my favorite new upcoming director, if you guys really want to call him an upcoming director, or new director around, I guess. But he's definitely a solid filmmaker. That definitely, if you have a name in your his name in your project, obviously I'd be excited. Now, this movie won the People's Choice Awards at the Toronto International Film Festival, and history has proven in the past that movies that win this award do go on and become nominated at the Oscars for Best Picture, or so on and so forth. Now, obviously, we saw Joker that won the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival, and that movie most likely will be nominated for Best Picture, even though I haven't seen it. But it's just a battle between these two films. I'm truly glad that this movie is doing this good. With any movie, it's awesome to see that it's doing good, even the ones that you don't like. But especially this one. You don't see movies like this, so it's definitely awesome to see the recognition that it's getting. I may hate the film, but still, it encourages other studios to make certain types of films. While yes, there's been some people who are not as big of a fan of this movie, but again, it's a Hitler satire film. Obviously, it's going to be this way. Now, it started, as far as reactions go, again, it started off in the middle, but then the reactions started to get more positive, and now I believe it's around a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, where it started off at a 50. So that's awesome. Again, I love Taika Waititi. I'm sure this movie is going to be a total blast, and I'm sure it's going to have lots of fire, great characters, and I cannot wait for this film. And yeah, by the way, Taika Waititi is playing Hitler, so definitely cannot wait for that. Now, something that I wouldn't say I cannot wait for, but I'm curious, and that is M. Night Shyamalan. We all know him. He just came out with his film Glass, which make sure to check out my review of that movie. That came out earlier this year. So basically, Universal came out and basically posted the dates for his next two films. So the first, and they're all original. So his first one will be February 26th of 2021, and the second one will be February 17th of 2023. Now we've seen a lot of his movies premiere on this date, like a Split, like a Glass. Now I don't know if The Visit came out around that time. Now I mean M Night Shyamalan's hit and miss. I don't bother to see any of his atrocious movies I've seen, like A Lady in the Water or After Earth or The Happening, either though I hear they're hilariously bad. But I mean, he's made to be, in my opinion, one of the greatest comic book films of all time, and Unbreakable, that movie is just brilliant. He did The Visit, which I thought was a fun horror movie. Split, I like Split. I don't love it as much as other people do, but I like it. And Glass, I wished it was better. But I still, to this day, I mean, I haven't seen it again, but, you know, it happened. But, yeah, so, I mean, it's not a horrible movie, but I didn't love it, I'll say that. So, I don't mind M. Night Shyamalan. He's not a horrible director. I like him. And when he's on his A game, he makes some brilliant stuff. So, I'm excited. Well, okay, I'm curious for this. I don't know what type of movie it's going to be. Maybe it's something new, because we've seen a lot of his movies be like thriller or drama, horror, or so on. Or it was After Earth a sci-fi movie? Yeah, it was. I never saw it, so it was maybe a sci-fi movie. And maybe he gets his hands on more dramatic stuff, maybe more comedic stuff. So that'd be pretty interesting. So I'm definitely curious to see what happens. So with that said, let's move on to the next topic. And the next topic is, I just talked about him earlier this episode. He is a walking legend, as everyone should call him. And that is the franchise that we all know and love, called Rocky. That is right, folks. Now, Sylvester Stallone, he was being interviewed, and they asked him about Creed. Now, some news reports have come out that basically Michael B. Jordan was offered the role to not star, but to direct Creed 3, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But basically, Sylvester Stallone basically said, like, the plans he has for not a Creed 3, but for a Rocky 7. Now, I can't believe how many Rocky films there are. It's absolutely insane. But he's basically saying, oh, he's going to go on his own, train a new fighter, and so on and so forth. That's basically what he has planned for Rocky 7. And he's going to separate himself from Creed. And then he says that he's done. He's kind of done with those films. Now, as far as what do I think about Michael B. Jordan directing Creed 3? I think he should direct something smaller before he gets his hands on a project as big as a Creed. I mean, yes, they're not billion-dollar films, but still, it's a part of the Rocky franchise. And I love the first Creed, really enjoyed the second one. And, I mean, sure, he can be a great director, but I just like to see some more of his directing roots in, like, a smaller short film. Kind of like what Steven Spielberg did. Like he first started with that short film, and then he made Jaws. Like, that's what I would like to see. As far as right now, I mean, I'm curious. I'm not excited for Michael B. Jordan to be directing Creed 3, but however, as far as Sly goes to being in the Creed films, I mean, you're going to have to explain why he's not in Creed, because obviously he's his trainer, he cares about him, and you just got to be like, well, why is he not there anymore? Why did he go off on his own? So I'm a bit anxious to see where this Rocky franchise goes. I mean, am I a little bit surprised that they're making a third Creed? Yeah, actually, because, I mean, the second one didn't make all that much. The first one made a pretty good amount, but I don't think the second one made all that much. I know it broke even, but I forgot how much that movie made. I should have pulled that up. Come on now, Kid Kritic, you know better than that. And now, so the next topic we'll talk about, and that is something that people could have been excited for, but however, it was never put into the film, and that is this Iron Man alternate end credit scene. Now, obviously, I'm talking about the first Iron Man film. Obviously, it ended off with Nick Fury in Tony Stark's house and says, you're part of a bigger world. You just don't know it yet. Now, that's how that movie obviously ended off. One of the iconic end credit scenes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, they shot another end credit scene that was that they were going to put in the film, but they were like, now let's hold the brakes a little bit because we don't know how this movie's going to turn out. And they released it online that basically hints at the X-Men and Spider-Man. Now, I think it was pretty smart of them to pull it out. Yes, it's cool, but I think it was pretty smart of them to pull it out because that's a lot. That's really a lot. I mean, Avengers, just to hint at Avengers was pretty ballsy enough, but to hint at an X-Men and a Spider-Man, that is a lot. Now, it would have been interesting to see if maybe Paramount, who owned the MCU at the time, maybe it would have been interesting to see maybe if they could work out a deal with Fox for the X-Men or see what happened with Sony with Spider-Man. Definitely would have been interesting, but I mean, Spider-Man 3 already came out like a year before Iron Man. The first Iron Man film came out, so I mean, I don't think Sony would have given Marvel Spider-Man just yet, but possibly X-Men that could have happened. But it was definitely smart of them. Absolutely smart of them. I think they would have gone way too ahead of themselves. And I think if they put that in, we probably wouldn't have an MCU today. So thank goodness that did happen. And I mean, it's already a great end credit scene. Why do you need to add just, you just don't need it. You just don't need it. Now, let's get into this main topic, all right? This is the main topic. And boy, am I excited for this one. Let's talk about this new short film from the Jurassic World / Jurassic Park universe thingy, the Jurassic universe, and that is the battle at Big Rock. Now Colin Trevorrow shot this. I don't know when he shot. They shot this a while back, and this was highly anticipated, and it finally came out last Sunday, and this is probably the best thing I've seen from this Jurassic universe since the original Jurassic Park film. I loved this. I absolutely loved this. And by the way, this is a great piece of marketing for a film that's 2 years away. I mean, this movie gets me a lot more excited for the third installment. I thought the second one was alright. The first one was fun, but they're fine. They're fun films. But this definitely gets me a lot more excited for the third one. It had basically a horror / scary vibe and tone to it, which I thought was awesome. The visual effects. I mean, this was an expensive short film because the dinosaurs looked great. I mean, they introduced a new dinosaur, which I'm not a dinosaur fanboy, so I don't know much about the dinosaurs' names, but they were freaky, and it was just absolutely awesome. I thought the characters were fun. The little girl was hilarious. And this makes me a lot more excited for the third film to see basically how this world is going to be with all these dinosaurs basically infesting this whole entire planet. And it definitely gets me a lot more interested. So definitely props to Colin Trevorrow and everyone involved for this short because it was fantastic. And as a big, huge fan of that original Jurassic Park film, which also had a bit of a horror tone to it, I cannot wait for this film. I just cannot wait. I mean, this short film was basically, the first scene of the second Jurassic World film was kind of like, it had the same tone of this short. However, it just didn't keep it up. It tried, but I don't think it did it very well. But this short film, if this is what the third Jurassic World film is going to be, I cannot wait. So yeah, like I said, this was going to be a shorter episode, and that's kind of it. That is kind of it. I mean, we ran at almost 20 minutes. Almost 20 minutes. And yeah. I mean, would you rather have that or have me drag on? You know what I mean? I know everybody loves a Kid Kritic Movie Podcast for the one person who watches this. I know you do. But anyways, make sure to like and subscribe to the Kid Kritic YouTube channel. And make sure to go follow Kid Kritic at Kid Kritic1 on the Instagrams. And once again, don't forget to like and subscribe. And look out for the next episode of the Kid Kritic Movie Podcast. So hopefully there's a lot more movie news to talk about. Yes, it was tons of fun to talk about the Battle of Big Rock short film. It was tons of fun to talk about the Suicide Squad 2 cast. And Michael B. Jordan possibly making Creed 3. Who knows if that goes down. And Joker possibly breaking records. We'll see. We'll find out how all of this goes down. And that is it for Kid Kritic. And as always, what does Kid Kritic always say? Peace.